Okay, here's a quick video on how to navigate with GPS from airport to airport. First, you're going to click your GPS. I'm just doing this in the Cessna, but it's very similar with all the Garmin GPSs. First thing you want to do is click the FPL button, which is flight plan. You can delete your flight plan if there's already one in there by hitting menu and then delete flight plan with this little knob here. But we don't have one in there, so it should show you where we're at, which we're in Allegheny County Airport in Pennsylvania. We'll just do a quick flight over to Pittsburgh International. So what you want to do is to activate your cursor, just click on the push button there, push cursor, and it's going to highlight, and then you use the outer knob to scroll down, and then the inner knob to type in your airport. So I know Pittsburgh International is K-Pit, so we're going to do K, and then next letter with the outer knob, with the inner knob P, outer knob over I, with the inner knob, and then T, and there we go, Pittsburgh International. We'll click enter, and then enter again. Alright, there's our flight plan, very simple. Okay, and then next all we have to do is pick a runway. So what we're going to do is hit procedure, which is the PROC button. We're going to select approach, hit enter, and you pick a runway. So we'll do just ILS 10, which is an ILS approach. Hit enter. We'll do vectors because that'll just navigate there from where we are when we activate this. Hit enter. We're just going to hit load for now. We don't need to activate it yet. Okay, so now we got a little flight plan in there. Let's take off really quick. I'm not going to do this by the book, just to save time. Let off the brake there. Okay. Woo. I am swerving. Okay, 60 knots. We'll pull up. Okay. So in order to have our GPS activate here, let me trim down a little bit here so we don't get out of control. In order to have our GPS activate, we're going to click the CDI button, because now we're on nav. Oh god, I gotta trim down. Hold on. Okay, so we're going to click the little CDI button. That'll switch us to GPS. You can also click this little button over here. Yeah, there it is. And we are going to next close that. Look down here to our autopilot controls, which are right here. We'll hit nav. We'll hit vertical speed and we'll set that to 0. And autopilot. And what that's going to do is take us towards our airport. As you can see, the Cessna is turning. We're staying level right now. Like I said, you can mess with this because the vertical speed here, will increase your flight level, whether you turn it up or down. But for the purposes of this video, we'll just stay nice and level. Okay, so we're staying nice and level. We're heading towards K-Pit. Now, next, we want to activate our approach once we're at our desired flight level. So, how we do that is we go to procedure, scroll, use the big knob down here to scroll up to activate approach, hit enter. And that's going to realign our course with the waypoint that will line us up with the runway. So I'm going to pause this video until we get close, because now you just have to do nothing. Okay, so while we're on our way, one very important step is you want to tune, for an ILS approach, you want to tune your nav, which will show up here, to the runway that you're landing at. So the way you do that is you can bring up your map. Okay. Where are we? Okay, so we're going to K-Pit. We know we're landing on runway 10. Oh wait, let me make sure here. Okay, yeah, we're running on, okay, runway 10 left. So, just open up your map. And what we'll do is we'll go to our low en route, okay, and we'll highlight whichever approach is runway 10 left. So it's right there, okay? We know we want to be at 111.70. So that's what we'll do is we'll program that in there. So we want to select our VLOC. Oh, it's already in there, 111.70. Okay, but to change that, you just use these knobs here, and that'll change it. But yeah, we want 111. Whoops. Look, I've screwed it up. But we want 111.70. And these are a pain in the ass. Oh, you're kidding me. There we go. Okay, 111.70. And we want it to be active, so we're going to switch it from standby to active. Okay. And that's it for now. We're still heading towards our first waypoint. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not it for now. Also, what you want to make sure you do, and the Cessna is weird with this, you want to make sure your heading bug is in the direction of the runway. So runway 10, so we want to have our heading bug at 100, okay, or 10, or whatever. So let's get on there. I don't think it has to be exact. Oops. There we go. Yeah, ILS approaches, for whatever reason, will not work. I don't know if it's like that in real life, without the heading bug, even though it's on autopilot, facing the direction of the runway. Okay, we're coming up on our first waypoint, which is Stowe. Okay. So what I like to do here is I like to slow it down, bring down the throttle, till we're going about 90 knots. Okay. That's usually what I like to land at. I mean, everyone has their take on it, but that's what I find to be pretty easy, is 90 knots. So we're going to slow down to 90 knots, which is right in that little crease there. Okay, that looks good. Okay, we should be reaching our waypoint very soon here. And we're going to be making a hard right turn. Very shortly. Okay, once we get to that first waypoint on the approach, you're going to see a little countdown here. It'll say right turn to 100. It's at our first waypoint, and the plane automatically starts turning right at Stowe. And this is going to line us up with our runway that we selected. Now, if you're coming in at a weird angle, sometimes it'll automatically switch over to LNAV, which is the frequency of the runway, and then it'll just kind of shoot you off into space. If you're not following the flight plan, just keep hitting this CDI button to switch it back to GPS until LNAV starts bringing you back in. But yeah, it should switch over to LNAV automatically. And then once on LNAV, you kind of want to pay attention to this little crosshair here, okay, right here, because this is going to guide you into that runway. Okay, just you want to see this little yellow nav lit up once you get, lined up with the runway. But since my plane decided to head off into the distance while I paused the video, it's just taking its sweet time, but we will get there. Okay, once we do actually get lined up with the runway, which you can see here, and here, in this little crosshair, we're lined up. We want to go down to our autopilot, which is down here, and we want to arm the approach. So hit the approach button. Boom. Okay. And what that's going to do is that's going to keep us nice and level until we intercept the glide slope, which is that needle that's kind of facing up right now. That's going to slowly drop as we get closer to the runway until we are perfectly in line with the slope that we are supposed to take down to the runway, which is the ILS signal. Basically, it's catching the ILS signal, and that is going to take our plane safely to the runway. Now, I also want you to remember that you need to have this heading bug at least facing the direction of the runway. So we did that earlier, or else the ILS approaches will not work. GPS will, if that's the approach you pick, but ILSs will not. Okay, so right now we are at Raku, which is our last waypoint to runway 10. So right now we are Raku to runway 10. So we are heading to runway 10. So we will start descending. Now we're flying a little low here, but doesn't really matter. This is going to keep moving down this little line here. The up and down one will show us lined up with the runway, and this will show us lined up with the glide slope. So we just got to wait till that turns into a crosshair, and then it will automatically start descending as long as that approach button is pressed. So I will pause it until we get to that point. Okay, as you can see, that needle is moving down rapidly as we approach the glide slope. And our plane is now descending. Now we're speeding up, so I'm going to take a little bit off the throttle here. I should have engaged flaps already, but I'll do that now. And when you do that, just make sure the plane doesn't go crazy. But we're still on autopilot, everything looks good. That crosshair is lined up pretty well. We are descending towards the runway. And as soon as we get a little bit closer, all you have to do is turn off autopilot and land manually. So hopefully I don't screw this up. Okay, so you're just going to hit that little AP button on your autopilot as soon as you get close to where you feel comfortable taking over. This will take you almost all the way down to the runway number there. We're going a little slow now. Everything's lined up, we look good. Alright, I'm going to take that autopilot off now. You'll hear that beep. I'm just going to take over. Bring it down a little bit. I'm going to cut off the engine. And that beeping is normal. That's just from a little thing in the runway that tells us we're over top of it and we have to land pretty much. So yeah. And that is it. Sorry about the not perfectly straight landing, but that is about it. And you are at your destination. Have a good one.